Alright, we're back on gaming. And let me say this now, today's video is going to be very serious due to the fact that the news that I've seen, I had to do an update actually before I turned on the camera, to read some of these things. And, the allegations that I'm reading within our community are just very, very, it's not just disturbing and appalling and upsetting, but it's the way the community also reacted to the situation, which we will talk about later, alright? Because everything up to this point is going to probably seem very petty, very childish, very immature from these other people. And you know what? It is. It is compared to what we need to talk about, what we need, what we need to address. But I need to talk about these things first so it leads up to it, so you understand what I'm saying, okay? So let's get started with Dead or Alive Xtreme 3. Now, we all know the story about Dead or Alive Xtreme 3 and how, when it was first revealed, people, SJWs, went crazy. They were saying, oh, there's boobs in this. I can't believe this. I'm triggered. I don't want this game to come to the States. And as we know, the game, decided not to domesticate over here. And if you wanted the game, you would have to import it. Now, as we know, PlayAsia actually went against the grain and was like, you shouldn't cave to SJW pressure. If you want this game, if you like this game, if you're a fan of the series, you should buy it, and you can buy it here, right? And then when that was said, we saw a lot of people on the SJW side. JP Kellums came out. A lot of these people came out and was just like, PlayAsia's dead. They're a dead, they're a dead media outlet, trying to sell games, and this will never work. We saw this, right? Okay. So here's some news about this. Dead or Alive Xtreme 3 breaks sales records at PlayAsia. So apparently it worked. So, you have to understand, with all that backlash, there were also people who didn't plan on buying this game, but after they saw the backlash and trying to censor it, people said, okay, well, I'm going to buy this game simply to spite you for trying to censor it. So, plan worked. Either way, if you haven't seen what Dead or Alive Xtreme 3 looks like, if you watch the trailer, I don't understand where people are upset. I don't. It looks very lighthearted. It's a bunch of women in bikinis playing volleyball. And then other mini games when it comes to water, pushing each other in the water and carrying on, bumping each other with their butt, trying to run across the the pond in these little floaties or whatever, trying to jump on them. It seems like a very lighthearted, very inoffensive game as opposed to how they're dressed. Because if we're going to keep doing this thing where, oh, it's boobs, I'm offended, then that's not going to work. And you know what? We'll talk about that a bit later because it's not just boobs anymore, apparently. Okay? However, I do need to talk about Psychonauts 2. I need to talk to the people who donated to Tim Schafer. Now, for those who donated, we tried to tell you, I myself did a video saying you shouldn't give money to Tim Schafer because of what he's done in the past. His history with managing money is really bad, not to mention the guy's an overall ignorant douchebag, okay? But a lot of you had your reasons on why you wanted to support him. We cannot tell you how to spend your money, right? And then we found out last week that Tim Schafer, alright, who didn't have any money, mind you, because, let's be honest, that's why he asked you to donate to said projects, gave Anita Sarkeesian $30,000 cash out-of-pocket donation for her next project. That's right. Now, when this happened, a lot of people in the community were very upset. A lot of allegations also went around saying that Tim Schafer took your donated money and gave it to Anita Sarkeesian for her next project. So technically, you helped fund Anita Sarkeesian's project, okay? When confronted about this, Tim Schafer, many people confronted him on Twitter about this, he did not deny it, not once. Actually, he tried to justify, he tried to actually redirect every type of conversation, because every time they said, you donated $30,000, it's a lot of money, how could you do that to your donators? His response really was just, well, $30,000 isn't a lot of money. That was his response. He had really no legit response, or defense for using money. And even though we haven't seen any numbers that say that, like I said, Schafer hasn't denied it. He hasn't. All he keeps saying is $30,000 isn't a lot of money. That's it. So the community is very upset about that. And once again, you've been taken for your money. Tim Schafer has donated, I would say, given what we've seen and how he's responded to these allegations, he's taken $30,000 of your donated money to Psychonauts 2 and just pretty much gave it to Anita Sarkeesian. Now, with that said, Anita Sarkeesian has come out and decided that she is going to laugh in your faces about this. That's right, because for those who don't know, she's decided that she's going to try to pull, I should say, the old trolling trick of, you mad, bro? Apparently she's saying you dudes are being very uppity that she's being successful in her new video series. And I find it funny because the word uppity, anyone's a black person, no, that's a word you just don't use. You don't use the word uppity. But the fact that she's trying to say that you mad, bro, it's kind of funny because, I'll put it like this, I think if anyone's mad, it's Anir Sarkeesian. Because the Amazing Atheist, he did a campaign, his own donations, to help women in third world countries. And Anir Sarkeesian was so upset at the fact that it wasn't just a knock against her, but it was actually helping more women than Anir Sarkeesian's actually helping. And it was doing so much better than Anir Sarkeesian until, Tim Schafer came along, gave her $30,000. The guy from Cards Against Humanity, when he gave her like $25,000, mind you, that's the same guy that, the SJWs came out and called him a rapist, but he still gave money anyway. So it's amazing how you're just giving money to people who just don't think much of you as it is. I'm just saying, okay? But you said, you dudes are getting uppity. It's funny because if anyone looked at Anir Sarkeesian's mentions when this came out, a lot of women came out and was like, I'm not a dude. And I'm very upset that you decided to go that route. So it goes to show you that she still thinks that this is trying to play this narrative that it's just men that are upset about this issue and pretty much ignoring women. Here's the thing, all right? Because when the Amazing Atheist, when, his donations went through the roof, all right? She got upset and decided to go to the Mary Sue and write an article saying that this harasser is doing this simply to spite her, blah, 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 and tried to say that that's all it was, that it's actually not helping anyone, which is absolutely false. She's lying, okay? But Anir Sarkeesian, I want you to explain to me that if all this is happening and dudes are supposed to be mad, bro, that you couldn't raise the money on your own without so much help. Matter of fact, we even had Paul Feig come out and say, hey, you need to go out and support Anir Sarkeesian in her new, in her new endeavor when it comes to her video series. And you know what? The bottom comment is even worse because they're like, yeah, that's a good troll that you're doing against these people. I didn't think that trolling had anything to do with it. It shouldn't have anything to do with, as you know, trying to get, a project off the ground. Let's be honest here. Anir Sarkeesian, you were the first to come out, this is a good example, once again, to come out and say, I'm being harassed, this is wrong, you should give me money for victim bucks, yet you're sitting here trolling and trying to bait people's rage. Good example of it, alright? From now on, you can't play the victim role anymore. You can't say that you're being harassed. Even if you are harassed from this point on, you can't use it anymore. Because you just outright just get, you mad, bro? Ha ha ha. You actually went the troll route on this one. I guess you just ran out steam, huh? But I find it funny that without Schaefer's donation, without the guy who does Cards Against Humanity, without his massive donation, without Hollywood trying to back you, you don't have anything. It tells us that your supporters that you leaned on for the first time, they've kind of smartened up. They're saying, no, we're not going to support you this time. You wouldn't be close to goal at all. You wouldn't even be near half of your goal. Just remember that, okay? If those people did not step in and try to help you, you wouldn't even be close. Your ship is sinking. It just is. But I want to move on. I want to talk about more ships that are sinking. And I want to talk about Blizzard. Now, I know everyone is very upset over Overwatch, and that's what we're going to talk about right now, okay? Because for those who don't know, Blizzard removes Tracer's pose to avoid offending anyone, right? That's what's going on. And the Blizzard community is very, very upset, all right? Now, you're thinking to yourself, okay, this post, this person must look somewhat scantily clad, because last week, they said that girls in, schoolgirl skirts, that was offensive and scantily clad. So this one, it has to be even worse, right? It has to be. You know what? Let's see what Tracer looks like in this pose. So that's what we get offended over now. A fully clothed woman now. So now we're not even talking about boobs and butts and everything. We're not even talking about that now. Now we're talking specific poses. That's right. This is what's triggering people. So let me get this straight. It's okay for Tracer to be, to trigger people and get offended over that pose. But I find it funny because they're saying that, it sexualizes women. I find that funny because the men have the same pose in this game, which is equally fair. Over the shoulder, 75. So let me get this straight. You have equality. The woman is fully clothed. Hell, the guy has less clothing on than the woman does. But All right, we have equality, and the person who complained about this is a man, right? Who says, and I'll put the link in the info bar, okay, where he goes on saying, you should think of the children when it comes to this. And if you looked at the rating on the game, children shouldn't be playing this anyway. So why should we think of the children? I don't understand this. I really don't. You're getting upset over nothing. Because like I said, remember all those women who did those slut walks and stuff? Don't tell us how to dress, because it's wrong. And then you go on and find a fully clothed woman in a pose and say, I'm offended by this, it should be taken out because she's looking sexy because the way she is standing. You understand that right there, dude? You're slut-shaming. You get that, right? You get that. But I want you to listen to more. I shouldn't say listen, you should read more on what this guy is saying in defense of him sending this to Blizzard and Blizzard complying with his complaints. Hold up. Did this guy just say that anime ass leads to rape? Did he just say that? He just said that, didn't he? Yeah, he just said that, didn't he? Yeah. I know a number of cosplayers, female cosplayers, that would seriously disagree with you. Just saying, would disagree with you. However, I do want to move on more because that guy, there is something wrong with that dude. But a mother's response to Tracer's pose, that's right, still more, has her thread deleted for no reason. That's right. So, a woman who came out, a mother, comes out and says there is nothing wrong with the pose in a very, very articulate way. Thread was nuked, right? And when the community got hold of it that the thread was nuked, they went after Blizzard, the moderators or whatever. And then we found out later, because the mother had she was on Twitter, she was like, oh, they brought the thread back. So you nuked it for no reason, because nothing was being offensive said in it, alright? You nuked it for no reason, and then you quietly brought it back after the backlash pretty much went away. I'll put the link in the info bar so you can see it, because if you go on and you read the thread, they say in the thread, oh, this is back. There was no reason to take it out to begin with. There's massive damage control going on. There is. And nobody's buying into it. But it gets worse from here on out, people. Oh, yeah. For those who don't know, Square Enix. I guess we should talk about this. Square Enix. Square Enix gave Star Ocean 5's Miki bigger panties in fear of Western criticism. That's right. So they're changing the character's panties, and some people are saying now it looks like she's wearing diapers, all right, because of Western criticism. They're afraid of the backlash that SJWs are going to give them. And Japanese gamers now are absolutely pissed because they put this on Twitter. So now these people's SJW outrage are now putting us against each other, our own community against each other. So now we have people from the Far East saying, fuck everyone from the West. And we've seen a number of videos already come out where gamers are saying towards, the Japanese, saying, hey, look, it's not all of us. We don't agree with them either, so don't put us all in the same boat. But you have to understand, when outrage is out there and backlash comes, it's met with an equal, if not more, greater outrage. So right now, there's a lot of damage control going on within our community when it comes to relationships, when it comes to, us people from the West and people from the Far East. So it goes to show you that this is something that they plan on to keep doing when it comes to whether it's a person's post. Because mind you, at first it was just, remember, this all started with, we just want more women in gaming. We want to, integrate more, even though they were there. Now we're seeing, okay, you have boobs, we're upset by that. You're dressed a certain way, we're upset by that. Now you're fully clothed, but now the pose is too sexy, so we're upset by that. It goes to show you that this is going to be a problem in the future, and we're starting to see it even more now because with the Division. And you can't tell me that this stuff is not real at this point. Now the Division is getting flack, all right, for identity politics because the game apparently isn't progressive. This is going to be a lingering problem for a while, as I see it. I mean, it's already bad enough that, the relationship between the West and the Far East is going to be strained. But also, when it comes to the industry, you should know you shouldn't have to cave to this type of outrage. But they're afraid that they're not going to sell any units when it comes to this. I think it's up to gamers at this point to let them know, hey, look, we have your back. Do not listen to them, all right? Because all they're doing is trying to control what's going on. They don't care about fun. They don't care about your product. They just want control. That's what it is. And that's a problem. Like I said, it's going to be a lingering problem for a while. Speaking of lingering problems, I think this needs to be solved right now. Because this is FGC related, alright? But this needs to be done as far as I'm concerned. We are 5 weeks into this now. I didn't even talk about it last week. But once again, hipster, shill, gamer. You know, I'm really starting to get annoyed by your childishness. I really am. And the thing is, it's pretty pathetic that you have to go this far in order to do these type of things, alright, for a grown man. But let me say this now. For those who don't know, this guy has spent a number of weeks pretty much exposing himself of not being a gamer. That I have not talked about, certain things. But he came out with a video not too long ago, which you don't even have to watch it in order, look. When you title your video, Hip Hop Gamer exposes Street Fighter V haters or whatever, and then you put a hashtag saying that they're spoiled gamers, this is becoming the Devil May Cry issue all over again. And this is how idiots always repeat history, okay? Because they never learn from it, all right? Let's track record here. First, when this situation happened, he called you entitled gamers. He threw his opinions out there, said that the community was horrible for, saying these type of things, and getting on Street Fighter V and saying that you were assassinating their character. So he had his opinion. He threw it out there on the internet. The internet threw their opinions back at him. He could not handle the opinions back at him. What happened? He screamed, you're a bunch of haters, and I'm being a victim now of harassment. That's what he did, okay? Almost reminds you of Anita Sarkeesian. It does, all right? So, he called you entitled. He called you haters. Now he's calling you spoiled gamers. This is clearly Devil May Cry all over again. All he has to say at this point is that you are the vocal minority. Look, I put it like this, all right? People like him who say that they're positive and they're for, the community to be united, you spend a hell of a lot of time insulting people, don't you? Seriously. When I saw that title, I didn't even click on the video. It was like, you've already drawn the lines of who you're going to insult. You already have, alright? There's no point of watching your video because you're being negative for a person that's supposed to be nothing but positive, right? Okay, alright. But over the weeks, we have seen you expose yourself of not being a gamer. Alright, for those who don't know, this guy came out and said that he owns 20,000 games. That proves to everyone that he is a gamer. And then we found out he doesn't own 20,000 games. Matter of fact, he has a bunch of ROMs and emulators. For a person that's supposed to be pro, company, and you should support the companies. And what did he say before? He said even if a company makes a bad game, that you should still support it. You should still go out and buy it. But you got 20,000 ROMs. Yeah. Did you buy those? No. You got them illegally. Which, hey, if you're going to do that, look, you're going to get ROMs or whatever, fine. But don't sit here and act like you own them, because you don't own them. You have them in your possession, you don't own them. Okay? You didn't buy them. Now, with that said as well, this guy has tried to show people that he is a hardcore player. So he decides to play Batman, right? It was Batman Returns, something like that. And then we find out he has the cheat codes on. Hardcore gamer, though. Yeah. Then he says to the Street Fighter fans, that's right, we'll go back to you Street Fighter fans, that he has skills in Street Fighter, and decides that he's going to play Street Fighter Rainbow Edition. And he's going to show you that he's got skills. Now, here's my advice to this child. Again, child. A grown man does not act like this, okay? For a person who's already come out on the record and said, these people, these haters, they're not getting to me, dog. They can't get into my mind. I'm built differently. That's what he said. You have spent a number of weeks trying to prove to these so-called haters that you're a real gamer. If you're a real gamer, you wouldn't have to sit back and try to prove that now, would you? But you've tried your hardest to prove to people that you're a gamer. And then you get caught every time. Right? Okay. I will put it like this. You need to put up or shut up. Just like Rockaway Kara said not too long ago. Matter of fact, Rockaway Kara had a talk with Sonic Fox the other day. I saw the logs on chat, on Skype. I saw the logs. And even Sonic Fox came out and called you a scrub. It's this simple. When the community does not respect you, alright, because of the way you're acting, and the companies, they don't give a shit about you, so they don't even know who you are, alright? It doesn't matter if you went and got a press pass and interviewed said developer or whatever. That doesn't matter. the companies in general don't know who you are, so they don't care who you are. So when the companies don't care who you are, and the community doesn't give a damn who you are now, you're stuck, aren't you? You put yourself in that box. It's this simple. I've never seen, like I said, once again, I've never seen a grown man so scared to play video games online, because you're supposed to be the one. You're the one. But you're scared to play people. How about this? Start playing people, right? Play people. Because it's April. It's almost April now. It's almost April. Aren't you supposed to have this match with Rock? And Rock has already confirmed that you've muted him. So every time he says something to you, you don't see it. You know what I mean? I've never seen a grown man act this way. Never. It's one thing to sit and say, hey, I'm not going to take your challenge. But it's another to take said challenge, then back out of challenge for charity, because it doesn't matter if you want to lose, it's charity, back out of challenge, and then proceed to talk shit to people, and call them a bunch of names, have an open challenge, and then you don't play anybody. Yeah. Not to mention all the other stuff where you got caught with cheat codes and stuff like that. Not to mention all that other stuff. In the previous 4 to 5 weeks, you have damaged yourself so badly. It is absolutely ridiculous. There was also talk over at Final Round how people were making fun of you via commentary while streams were going. So, yeah. But that's all, all because you want to jump back on Street Fighter V. Because let's be honest here, people, we have moved on pretty much from Street Fighter V. We saw the trailer for King of Fighters, and everyone got hyped. You know what I mean? We saw the trailer for Tekken, and everyone's getting hyped. And you're still going back to Street Fighter V and calling people a bunch of names because you think if you keep jumping on this horse and riding it, that people will watch. But your views still don't add up. Yeah. Like I said, some advice, boy. I'm going to call you a little boy because that's how you're acting. Alright, child, little boy. Knuckle up or shut the fuck up. That's what gamers respect. That's it. At least have the audacity to play somebody, to take one of those challenges. Alright, whatever. Let's move on to Street Fighter V. Since we're on it already, there's not much to talk about with Street Fighter V as far as I'm concerned, because the only reason I'm bringing this up is because we know the update came out. The God tier update came out, alright, on the 28th. And people are already upset. That's right. Let's talk about it. Capcom makes Alex for free, as we know, for Street Fighter V, because that was Capcom's way of apologizing at first and saying, hey, we're sorry for what happened. Take Alex, right? Take Alex, all right? Now, but until the Zenny shop is available. Now, for those who don't know, the update came out on the 28th, and there's another update coming out, I believe, today. So, if the Zenny shop opens today, that means that Alex is not available anymore. So you let gamers download Alex for free and play for 2 days. 2 days. Mind you, it was supposed to be an apology. For 2 days. And now they have to give him back. Fuck Capcom. Oh my god. But no, it gets worse. Because as we know with the update, there's been a number of things that they've put in. They've put in different modes. And as we see, players are already upset because they've destroyed these trial modes? They've destroyed them with all characters, what? It took about an hour, 10 minutes we've seen so far. So, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, this is something that is just absolutely ridiculous. Capcom, take your time putting this out. You should have. I understand that you put it out simply because of Capcom. It seems like people don't understand. The only reason they put this out is because they had their, the Pro Tour was coming, Evo was coming up. They wanted to get this out there as fast as possible. They rushed an incomplete game. They know they did. All right, it's that simple. I think if it was after Evo, I think they would have taken their time. But they didn't want to miss that because that was money to be made. Okay, that's what it was. And it seems like people still don't want to talk about that. But we will talk about one more thing when it comes to Capcom, when it comes to this game, because, as we know, people are still upset over the fact that modders put back in Armika's butt slap. Alright? People are still upset over this. Yes. Now here's the thing. Alright? We know that it shouldn't have been taken out to begin with. Alright? Because you're caving to certain pressures, and you're saying that you want to keep it family-friendly. Then we saw the alternate costume not too long ago of Lara. Remember? They brought that out, and we were like, wow, Lara, that's not very family-friendly, is it? Now we're seeing another alternate costume for Lara, so let's look at that real quick. Jesus Christ, Capcom, so much for family friendly. That's all I'm saying. It just goes to show you how much you went back on your word. Like I just want to move on. I'm done with the Street Fighter news because we have a lot more FGC news to talk about, especially with other games and how the community has been doing. And I want to say this now and give you some positive news, some good news for once. You know what I mean? For the FGC. Like I said, it's not everything's all doom and gloom, but we do have to bring up these issues, and there are important things we need to talk about. Okay? So let's talk about the FGC. Let's talk about a one. What's his name? Baka. That's right, Sleepy Baka. Let's talk about him first. That's right. For those who don't know, Sleepy Baka was encountered at a tournament by, I believe, a child. I believe the girl was like 9 years old or something like that. And she was entering this tournament to play, right? And apparently these two got into such a conversation about, about said games. And she was so happy to talk to somebody at the tournament that she kind of stuck to his hip. That's right. So he felt as though he became a big brother to her, right? And it got to a point where they were talking before playing that, and she started showing him memes and things of that nature. And the child's father comes over and was like, oh, I'm so sorry that she's showing you memes. Like, this is something that she does. She was so excited to be part of the community and to play on such a stage when it came to the tournament that it goes to show you that there's so much diversity in the FGC that you can't script this. And for those who have not seen this little girl, this is exactly the picture that was taken. In more good news, and in diversity in the FGC, Test Your Might actually did an article, or should I say an interview, with Killtron187, who suffers from muscular dystrophy. That's right. And have realized that they're not going to let muscular dystrophy hold them back in playing in tournaments. And you know what? The article, like I said, the interview is one thing. The responses that is in this, in this interview is another. The community is like, that's right, don't let it hold you down. There's nothing but positive vibes from the community when it comes to this type of issue. And it goes to show you that they're rooting on this person. Even they asked, how do you feel about your fans? And, Killtron was like, I want to thank my fans for supporting me through these tough times. That's right. So, let's look once again. Killtron187, let's just see how this is going down at the tournament. Because, diversity. Now, this is where I have to get serious, okay? Because when you're seeing these type of children at tournaments and playing, all right, you think, yeah, it's good, it should be for everyone. Everyone should have a shot at this. And I agree, they should. But the things that we have seen, that have been reported when it comes to said conventions, like I said before, when you're seeing kids get bullied, when you're seeing people act ignorant. We've seen these things all over YouTube. We've seen the way people have acted, guys throwing stuff. We've seen it, okay? You can't deny this. That's when you have to say the community needs to be cleaned up. If you're going to bring the new blood in, especially kids that young, you don't want to expose them to that type of stuff. You know what I mean? It's one thing if you're salty because you lost, all right? But when you're teasing people because they lost, when you're bullying people because, they look like they're vulnerable, you've got to be kidding me that this hasn't been cleaned up yet. And once again, we are still going through weeks again where the media and top-tier players are too pussy to say anything because they're so worried about them fucking selves. Whether it comes down to being professional or politics or whatever. Look, I put it like this. When you have that type of reach, when you have that type of influence, when you have that type of popularity, if you can say something that would help the community that you're in, all right, that could help the community get better entirely, then you do it. It's that simple. I said before, until these people decide to start acting like adults and step up and speak on these issues, I will keep calling you a bunch of pussies. I will. But we have more news on this situation when it comes to the community. And this is where, like I said, gotta get serious. Gotta get serious. I want to talk about the sexual assault allegations that's been going on as of late with MacD and the Smash community. Now, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, I will put the link in the info bar, especially the Reddit conversation about it. Alright? Apparently, there's horrible conversations. Apparently, there may be not just one victim, but multiple victims of sexual assault by MacD. Now, here's the thing. Alright? A lot of people are very upset at the fact that MacD hasn't had a chance to explain his side of the story. Which I feel as though two sides of a story. Yes, let's not jump the gun here and say he's automatically guilty of this, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Now, look. He was supposed to be on the stream not too long ago. all right? And they took him off stream. They didn't take him off. He told them he was leaving. So they took his name off the stream, and he was leaving, all right? Because, let's be honest here, if he did that stream, you would have known that that chat would have just, that's all it would have been. They would have grilled him, all right? And the thing is, even when he left, and he was going to be on there, the chat, again, immaturely decided to troll about the situation, which is not called for, okay? Like I said, once again, community needs to grow up, all right? There needs to be some responsibility taken here. Now, for what I've seen, Sky Williams is under, they've under some serious pressure, because the fact that their allegation towards him was, this happened under his roof, he should have known what happened, and now the allegations towards him is, he knew about the situation, but he tried to keep it quiet as much as possible for it hitting the internet, all right? Now, for what we're hearing, he's saying that's a misunderstanding. He's told people, look, if it's really making you uncomfortable, go to the authorities, talk to, report this to the police, all right? That's what he's saying. It seems like a lot of people are more upset at Sky Williams not taking a leadership role in this situation, as opposed to MacD allegations of the sexual assault, okay? Now, a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people are very upset right now over this issue, and it seems to not be going away. I put it like this: we shouldn't jump the gun just yet. Like I said, there are two sides of the situation. We need to hear both stories. However, if you do not hear both stories, it does not automatically mean that he's guilty. Maybe there's some litigation involved. Maybe there is something going on where they can't say anything on the internet, okay? Because it would just hurt their case. We don't know just yet, okay? However, I will say this: this allegation it's very serious. It's something, like I said, when you go back and look at stuff we talked about already, it doesn't compare. It pales in comparison compared to what we're talking about now. Sexual assault is a very serious issue. Not to mention that Leffen came out and said something, because apparently MacD made some jokes towards him on this issue, and he came out and, like I said, the Reddit links you right to Leffen, okay? As he responded, and he was saying how it did make him uncomfortable, and he told him stop. You know what I mean? And the guy apparently did stop. And people are saying, in his responses on his Twitter, they're saying we're watching Leffen, mature right in front of our eyes. Now, here's the thing. I felt Leffen did something that any average person would do when it came to, such an issue. If you feel uncomfortable about something, you tell them, stop, that's it, I'm not taking it anymore. It's that simple. But to be praised for doing something that you're supposed, that is pretty much common sense, tells me that the community is so wrapped up in immaturity that when someone finally shows a spot of maturity, we praise it. And we shouldn't praise it. It's not good for Leffen. No. It's, yeah, you should have did that. It's common sense, you should have did that. You don't get praised for something you're supposed to do. Alright? That's how I feel. I think this is, once again, one of those things where the maturity, it's really hurting the situation. Alright? Or should I say immaturity? It's hurting the situation. You shouldn't be going around trolling on the issue until you find out all the things. Like I said, you're just adding problems. That's what you're doing. Now, let's be honest here. Let's just say this is true. Alright? Let's say it's true. Does this hurt MacD? I don't think it's going to hurt him that much. Unless there's some legal precedence here, you know what I mean? Unless he gets really hit with something, from the law, then it's different. Alright? But I'm talking about from a community standpoint. I say this due to the fact that we have seen some of the nastiest, most vile people say things or do things here on YouTube, alright? Or on Twitch or whatever, on stream, and still have a following. We've seen just not too long ago, was it the Minecraft community take a hit because the guy was an actual pedophile and he was caught. And guess what? Regardless how nasty you act, you should know there's always going to be fans that defend it. Leave him alone. He didn't do anything wrong. It goes to show you, no matter how you act, there's always going to be people there to defend you. And the views are still going and going and going. You know what I mean? They're still making a living off of this. When clearly, the community should have walked away, should have pushed this person away and said, get out, you're done. I think that's a huge problem as well. I think it is. I think our community isn't doing a good enough job at policing at this point. I think that because there's so many children involved now when it comes to being influenced by grown men, doing this stuff, it's hard to reach them. So you're automatically, and as they grow, you know what I mean, they're going to get to that point where you see grown man acting like man-child and thinking that's the way you're supposed to act. I'm going to defend this person simply because I like them or they entertain me. It's always an excuse on why they're going to defend them. Always. You know what I mean? And you want to call them brainwashed, you want to call them influenced, you call them whatever you want. But the fact is, it is a problem. We've seen this for a number of months now, within, like I said, within YouTube and on Twitch. Yet, they're still around. So, like I said, even if this sexual assault case is true, it's a problem. We've seen Call of Duty commentators, you know what I mean? They've got caught with drugs and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Because they were too stupid to hide the shit or whatever. You know what I mean? And yet, they're still around. You know what I mean? Like, speaking of more fighting game news, like I said, it's a very serious issue, and I feel as though there needs to be some precedent set. I think the media, once again, it's kind of hard to lean on the media, isn't it? Because they were too damn scared to talk about the Lupe thing. I can only imagine what they're going to say, you know, if they're too scared to talk about this. These are things that need to be brought to the table, all right? It's almost like they're scared to say something. I said before, it seems like a lot of people are being quiet. I don't know if it's a politics issue. I don't know if they're just scared to talk about it. Whatever it is, it's an adult issue that needs to be addressed and brought to the table and have rational conversation on the issue. Let's move on. Killer Instinct Season 3 adds single-player mode, about time, and new characters. Okay, so just to let you know, that's coming. Also, King of Fighters 98 is now backwards compatible with the Xbox One. I've seen more hype for King of Fighters 98 backwards compatibility than I have this week than I have the Street Fighter 5 update. Just letting you know. Okay? Also, Tekken 7 updates, tournaments, and release date is rumored to be late 2016. I would say if you're a Tekken fan, please look into this link because they give you, like I said, the tournament schedule. They give you the updates on what's going to be done with this. Look, Tekken Bowl is back. Yeah, it's back. Like I said, Tekken fans, by all means, please look at the link in the info bar for your information. All right. Also, Bandai Namco is considering releasing Tekken 7 PC version of the game. So we'll see what happens there. Okay. And if this game if it does go to PC, because it just adds a new revenue stream for them, and it does well, you do realize that the Mortal Kombat community is going to, once again, they're going to get dirt thrown on them. Just saying, because of what happened. All right. Also, Guilty Gear Revelator pre-order includes 20 playable characters in demo. It's a digital download demo, and it has a number of features that they're giving you for this. This demo, for what I've seen so far, this pre-order demo, for what they're saying it gives you, it almost seems like they're giving you more stuff than Street Fighter 5 gave you at launch. I'm just saying. But of course, people will say, well, you know, given the previous Guilty Gear, you're pretty much getting a lot of the characters anyway, so whatever. It's just a small update. Anyways, like I said, link will be in the info bar for it as well. In esports news, that's right. Now, we talked about this not too long ago. We talked about, this new show that was coming out, the Dorm Heroes of the Dorm, right? They were having this thing that was put on TV or whatever. I believe, was it TBS that did it? I think it was TBS. TBS is the one that aired it. Heroes of the Dorm. Apparently, Harvard team, that's right, the team at Harvard, were caught cheating in the damn game. They were caught, Harvard were caught cheating. Okay, yeah, GG. There's been way too much cheating going on as of late when it comes to this type of stuff. What's going on here? Also, in more news, GTA 6. That's right. I guess we should talk about it. It is in development. That's right. So get ready for that. And here's the thing. In GTA, apparently GTA Tokyo was almost a reality. That's right. And I guess you can say, well, you know, they have their own type of version of the game, you know, over in Tokyo, you know, for Tokyo, that type of game. And, you know, sleeping dogs, stuff like that. But it was almost a reality, and they said that because of the structure of the city and time constraints, there's a number of excuses on why they didn't do it. But, like I said, the link will be in the info bar for you as well. Speaking of Tokyo, I want to say this now. Big TD Ottawa messaged me not too long ago. For those who follow me on Twitter, I retweeted what he sent me overnight because he's in Japan right now, and he went to the arcades in Japan. And I retweeted his pictures of Japan to show you that, you know, what the arcades over there look like. A lot of fighting games and all these other weird contraption type games. And I'm hoping that he also sent me some video on what was going on. I hope he doesn't have a problem me showing this. But we need to take a look at this game that these two players are playing, which they look like they are just going at it over there in Japan. still alive and kicking. It actually looked like something that was over. I believe they had something like that at MomoCon last year, but players were not doing it to that efficient level. I'm just letting you know that, okay? Also, in more news, movie news actually. A new Resident Evil CG movie called Resident Evil Vendetta will be on the way soon. That's right, it's been announced. And I have the other CG movies, which I actually enjoy more than the live-action movies. I don't enjoy the live-action movies at all. But the CG movies, I'm actually okay with. I mean, there were some, of course, they escape reality to an extent, you know, when you see Leon get hit by something really big and hits a wall, and it's like, okay, shouldn't you, like, have some broken bones, or shouldn't you be dead? And he's not, and it's like, okay, we're just going to let that go. You know what I mean? But it's, like I said, we'll see what they do with this new Resident Evil movie, alright? Also, in more news, Ratchet and Clank movie will be, it's actually snuck up on us. The release date, for what I've seen on IMDb, I was talking about this with Rock not too long ago, is April 29th. I wasn't sure if it was May 29th or April 29th, but I went on IMDb, and they're saying April 29th. So this movie's getting ready to sneak up on everyone. Yeah, isn't that something? Also, in more news, that's right, the Video Game Hall of Fame reveals finalists for May induction. That's right. So, once again, it goes to show you, like I said, the games they're picking up, I really don't have that much of a problem with. I mean, I guess some people could question The Sims, but if you think about it, for as long as it's been around, I guess you can induct that, you know. But the other games, you know, they're right there. Yeah, by all means, put them up there. You know what I mean? So, I think that's all the news I got for you today. You know, it just seems like it's just, it's been more news when it comes to backlash and how people are reacting, you know, to said game, as opposed to actual news that are positive this week. And, you know, like I said, I can give you a ton of stuff when it comes to when release dates are coming out and stuff like that. But they were few and far between as of late today. I'm sure there will be more news probably later today. But, yeah, man, the backlash between the Tracer pose, which, as we know, is nothing, Street Fighter V, you know, which, you know what I mean, like, that's, like I said, all these things pale in comparison to the sexual assault allegations that's going on right now in the Smash community. And I felt as though that was the biggest issue out of all of this. And it's sad that we see, like I said, it's got to be to a point where we say enough is enough. When someone does wrong, like I said, we don't know the whole story yet, just as like I said, we have to calm down. But I'm talking about in the past, where you've seen gamers do something wrong. Clearly, they've done something. They've been caught red-handed. It's there. It's the truth. You cannot sit here and tell me it's okay to keep supporting them. That's absolutely ridiculous. Our community is taking so many hits this week, alright? Between fighting with each other when it comes to Western gamers and Japanese gamers, you know, because they think as though we all feel that way over here. SJWs freaking out over nothing. The companies being afraid to bring out games and have to modify their games due to the fact that the backlash. Then we have the fighting game community still not speaking on the issues that need to be talked about. At one point do you say just simply, at one point do I just get on camera for like 5 seconds and say, grow up, and then that's the video? At what point do I do that? Like, I don't know. There's so many things that are wrong, and here's the thing. For a person like myself, who brings you this news week after week after week, and I say, look, this is a problem, it can be fixed. It can be. I'm not saying it's impossible. It can be fixed. Just people need to get on board. But yet we see people not getting on board. Why is this? As opposed to other people who say, I'm for the community, and they're lying out their fucking ass, and they ain't doing anything, and they're not even addressing said issues. It's just, you should buy this game. Come on. Come on. Seriously. The industry has a huge problem right now, and they're in fear. They need to be helped by the community. But if we also have the industry still turn around and say, the community sucks, and we've seen this in previous weeks, previous year or so. I shouldn't say year or so, I should say even more than that. You know, you guys don't like our product, suck a dick, blah, 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 blah. When the industry acts like that towards its consumers, and then the industry is starting to get scared because of a specific group of people say, this is wrong, you can't turn around and say, you know, well, I guess the consumers will, you know, help us. After the way you treated them, no. It's not how it works. Consumers, if anything, in the community will be like, all right, well, you're on your own. You're left dead in the water. You know what I mean? But I feel as though we should take it on a case-by-case, you know, individual basis when it comes to this. Now, granted, everything that has happened in the previous year or so, when you see companies, I said this before, when companies aren't speaking out on said issue and know it's a problem, what's been going on with the media and stuff like that, number one, it tells me you're just as guilty because you're afraid to speak out. It's not going to hurt your product because, like I said, you don't have to rely on media so much when it comes to selling games. Back in the day, you didn't have much media, and your game still sold like candy, didn't it? I remember there wasn't internet. You know what I mean? You either picked up a magazine, you read something, if you believed it or not, or you walked into Toys R Us or whatever game store and you said, this game looks good because I'm looking at the back of the box and I'm buying it. You just took your chances. You know what I mean? Or you listened to word of mouth from other people who did that. You know what I mean? Community was a big issue. It was, I shouldn't say a big issue, not issue as in problem. You know what I mean? It was a big issue. It was a big deal because we trusted each other. Now you see all these people who can't be trusted. You know what I mean? They're for themselves. They will lie to you just to get you to buy a game, or because they've been paid to say something. Or there's too much politics. There's too many snakes in the grass at this point. There's too many, and I feel as though that needs to be taken care of. I can't tell you how many times I'm tired of seeing media. Oh, well, this game is coming out. You know, this said fighting game coming out or whatever. Let's talk about this to the moon. Let's decipher these frames. Let's pick apart this outfit. And then it's like, okay, serious issue just happened in your community. Are you going to address it? Nope. Not going to address it. But we'll make a whole article talking about how it's good to be a villain. Come on, man. Come on. Like I said, all this can be cleaned up very easily if people would just cooperate and just care enough. That's what it is. To care enough. You know, not just about themselves. To care enough to say, hey, we've been here for X amount of years doing this. This community has been here, and it's falling apart. We can see all the cracks. No community is perfect, but we can improve on what we already have. And it seems like if we keep saying that, the people who do want the community to improve turn to be the bad guy. I don't know how that works. How do you do that? I don't know. However, the people who are fucking you over, that's the people you praise. Okay, or who are thinking selfishly of themselves, that's who you praise. Alright, you know what? Yeah, I'm done. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. Until next week. Talk to you then. I'm out.